certainly starting to grow. There's still plenty of time to right the ship as we make our way into the stretch run of the season. Well, good evening and happy homecoming, everybody. And thank you for tuning in tonight for not only a homecoming, but also a Hall of Fame edition of St. Martin's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, this is Jeff Lucero. Happy to be here with you for the live broadcast from Marcus Pavilion. Our game tonight, women's basketball action between the Saints and the Western Oregon Wolves. We'd also like to welcome in any Wolves tuning in for the broadcast tonight. Very nice to have you along with us as well. This was supposed to be the first game of a standard two-night GNAC Hoops engagement, but unfortunately, Seattle Pacific's men's team was forced to postpone its Thursday night game at Western Oregon and here against the Saints tonight. Here's to hoping that the Falcons program gets back to good health soon. As for tonight's game, we will talk matchups here in a bit, but first, let's chat about the home team. And for the Saints, they come into tonight's game a little worse for the wear, having dropped 5 of their last 6 since defeating Alaska here in Marcus Pavilion about 1 month ago. They lost their next 4 before bouncing back with an impressive 86-74 win against Simon Fraser a week ago tonight right here in Marcus Pavilion. That win halted a 12-game losing streak to that program that dated back all the way to 2014. But 3 nights later, they faced that same Simon Fraser squad up at their place, but could not sustain the momentum. They trailed by as many as 15 in the fourth quarter. The Simon Fraser lead still sat at 12 with 4 minutes to play when the Saints came charging back to make it a game right down to the wire, pulling within 3 after back-to-back threes from Tierney DeDonis, brought the Saints to within a single possession with 30 seconds to play, but they would claw no closer before eventually falling 66-61. The loss brings the Saints' overall record to 10-7 on the season, and they are now 2-6 in GNAC play. But one big difference over the last 4 games, how about the re-emergence of Claire Dingus? The 6-foot junior was in the midst of putting a spectacular season together, but she suffered through a very brief 2-game stretch in which she averaged just 6 points per game. But that mini slump came at a rough time for the Saints as it coincided with the first 2 games of that recent 4-game losing streak. But since then, she has gone absolutely nuts, averaging better than 20 and 10 over the Saints' past 4 games. She's played with a renewed sense of passion and purpose. Consider that she only attempted 10 total shots from the floor combined in that 2-game slide. Well, in these past 4 games, she hasn't attempted fewer than 12 shots in a single game. Oh, and by the way, she's also getting it done at the defensive end of the floor as well, averaging 3.5 steals per game in those 4 games, and she currently leads the GNACs in steals with 2.5 per game overall. Let's now bring in Austin Burns to the broadcast. And AB, we've seen several different players step up for this team for different stretches so far this season. The rapid development, of course, of freshman Ryan Clear, who, by the way, the Saints will be without tonight. More on that here in just a bit. And of senior Tierney DeDonis have been a frequent source of consistency for Saints head coach Christy Martin. But Austin, we've been watching for years, and it's not really much of a secret that when Claire Dingus plays at the peak of her powers, it gives this team its best chance to win on a night-in, night-out basis.
Absolutely, Jeff. I mean, you got an All-American who's been through the conference multiple times. You know, we've seen in some of the biggest games in her career, you know, the ones that stand out to me are the Alaska Anchorage games with that mayhem defense. She'll still go out and put up 25 and 10 against one of the best teams in the country. Yeah. Claire is doing a lot of the heavy lifting right now, trying to put this team on their back. And that's why I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm not worried at all because you have Claire Dingus at the center of it all. And you know with the pieces that the Saints have on this team, if they can all just connect in one game for a full 40 minutes, there's not many teams that can hang with them in this conference. So, I mean, for me, this is a huge game. Western Oregon, that you went down there when you were feeling really good about yourself, and Western Oregon put a good number up on you. And so this is an opportunity for the Saints on homecoming day. You're the primetime show. It's a huge opportunity here for the Saints to rally around each other and come away with a big-time W and start building that momentum towards March when you fight for a GNAC championship.
We will take a very brief, call it 20-second break of the pregame show as time winds closer to the opening tip of Saints women's basketball matched up with the Wolves. When we come back from the break, we will preview tonight's opponent for the Saints. You're watching the St. Martin's women's basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the back half of the St. Martin's women's basketball pregame show. And it is time for a quick look at tonight's opponent for the Saints. The Wolves enter tonight's game with an overall record of 7-9 with a league mark of 3-6. Since dropping their first two GNAC games, they rallied to win their next three, but since then they've dropped each of their last four. Their most impressive win in league play so far, a gritty victory at home against Montana State Billings, who are currently third in the GNAC at 7-3. The Wolves are a fairly deep team. 10 different players on this squad average at least 14 minutes per game. Now, of those, only 2 players average double figures, and just 1 player has started all 16 of their games. In fact, 9 have already started at least one game for head coach Holly Howard Carpenter, who is not in attendance tonight. We'll get to that here in just a moment. So, Coach Howard Carpenter, wherever you are, hope you're tuned in tonight and wishing the very best for you this evening. The 2 most reliable offensive players for this team, Meadow Aragon and Tracey McCarver. Aragon, a 5'11 sophomore, has made an enormous leap forward from her freshman season 2 years ago. She leads the team with 12.7 points and even 7 boards per game. Meanwhile, McCarver, a 5'5" junior, is second on the team with 11 points and almost 5.5 rebounds per game. But she also leads this team in assists with just better than 4 per game. That number good for second overall in the GNAC, behind only the Saints' Tierney DeDonis. Overall, the Wolves averaging about 65.5 points per game. They average 40% from the floor, 28% from 3, and 72% at the foul line. So, Austin, this is a team that, just like the Saints, has been up and down this season. And also like the Saints, it's been more down than up since the calendar flipped to 2022. But they already knocked off the Saints once this season, and they did it without their leading scorer, Meadow Aragon. With Aragon in the lineup here tonight, they're a more fully formed, fully operational battle station of a team. Between her and McCarver, they have a terrific inside-out combination. The Saints are going to have their hands full here today against this very scrappy band of rebel forces here this evening.
Jeff, Western Oregon, they're great on the glass. They play good defense. They out-rebound their opposing teams by nearly 4 per game.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to crash the boards. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Emily Nelson down low. And again, they have one of the best players in Aragon. She does so much for this team at 13.7 rebounds a game and 29 blocks on the season. She does a lot of damage, and the Saints, again, like you said, they didn't have to face her the first time. And so now with her on the floor, this really changes how you combat this Western Oregon team. So for me, the Saints are going to have to do a good job of getting those boards and getting out in transition. That's when they operate their best, that quick-flowing, rapid offense.
And remember, the Saints will be playing tonight without their second leading scorer. Ryan Clear unable to go this evening. She hopefully will be ready in time for the next game for St. Martin's. By the way, fans, hope you enjoyed my Star Wars references a moment ago. Not one, but 2 of those, you nerds. It's okay, I can say that. We're nerds up here, too. Once we return, we'll set the stage with some starting lineups and a last thought or two before tip-off between the Saints and the Wolves, in what already basically shapes up as a must-win game for each of these teams. Fans, stick around. Tip-off coming up in just a moment. This has been the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. We're just a couple of moments now away from tip-off between the Saints and the Wolves here on the Saints Digital Network. Exciting times here tonight. It's homecoming. It's a Hall of Fame night for the Saints. Good to see a really solid crowd making its way inside, including several members of the men's basketball team now making their way along the side of the court here right in front of us. So going to be a good, strong showing getting behind this Saints team tonight. Austin, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, you love homecoming weekend. Obviously, you pick a week, months out in advance, and obviously COVID, had to play a part this year in it and, knock off the men's game later. But, it's always great to see all the community come out in support, events all day today, recognizing all the great alumni of St. Martin's. We had 4 inductees to the St. Martin's Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor earlier. They were inducted actually last year, but we gave them a day in the light since we couldn't do it in person last year.
Did you get inducted this year?
Oh, no, Jeff.
It's got to be happening next year then, Austin.
Oh, man, I don't want to bring down the quality that's in our Hall of Fame, No, it's a special day, and you love it. You look forward to homecoming every year.
Outstanding stuff. Well, again, the Saints will be a little bit shorthanded here tonight. That's a tough break for them. Ryan Clear suffered a knock on the head in a recent outing. Tried to get cleared before tonight's game, unable to do so. So the Saints without their number 2 scorer on this team, taking her spot in the starting lineup. You had the graphics flash across the screen a moment ago. How about Josie Matz getting her 4th start in her 7th game for St. Martin's? She missed virtually the entire first 2 months of the season, but going to be great to get a good long look at Josie Matz and what she can do. She's the D1 transfer on this squad, making her way up north about 100 miles. And now here we go. We've got the Imperial March song. So see, look, my Star Wars references in the pregame show, just a sign of things to come.
Oh, I know you slipped a 5 to the PA. Make sure we get that right music for you.
Actually $6.38. I emptied out my bank account.
High roller today.
Tip is off. It is controlled by Western Oregon. We are underway. These two teams, of course, clad in similar colors. It is Western Oregon coming out in the Road Red, Saints in their traditional home whites. Lauren Morris hawking just all over Tracey McCarver. Now they bounce it down low. Pass off. Shot off the glass. No good. Alexis Wright onto the deck after it with Josie Matz. Not 1, not 2, but 3 bodies onto the floor. And a held ball called. And possession goes right over to the Saints.
And Josie Matz just kind of had the ball right there in between her legs and, kind of had 2 Western Oregon players diving on her. Kind of an awkward little situation, but Saints come away with the ball, and now first opportunity here, put some points up.
10-7 on the season so far is St. Martin's. Lauren Morris at the top of the key, picks up her dribble, looks for help, tries to feather a pass inside, bounces it to Emily Nelson. She's held, working her way around Alexis Wright. So our first foul into the books now. Whistled against the Wolves. Scoreless, just underway. Thanks for joining us from wherever you are tonight. Bounce pass inside, picked off. Callie McClave works her way straight across the paint. The Saints able to recover. Now Lauren Morris loses her defender, jukes her out of her shoes. Double clutch on the shot when she realized there was no one near her and knocks home the first points of the game.
Yeah, Lauren Morris is the key to the game for me. She's such a great rebounder, but she's also, when she's starting to score, I think that's when it really starts to open up the field for the Saints offense and give better looks for Claire Dingus and Tierney Dinodonis.
And another turnover. Making our first turnover, really, Western Oregon on the offensive foul. Illegal screen, I believe, was the call there. Maybe it was just a travel.
I think it was just stepped out of bounds,
okay.
Maybe.
Well,
hard to tell, though, right on top of it.
Now Dinodonis with her first touch. Up top, it's Josie Matz. Reverses it to Emily Nelson. Tries to find Dingus along the baseline. Lets a defender fly by, sets her feet, and knocks home the layup. 4 early points for St. Martin's. Listen to this crowd. It's so much nicer to have this many fans inside cheering after each made shot for St. Martin's.
Yeah, after last year, Jeff, any game,
goodness.
We get with fans. We've been looking forward to this day for so long. It's great to see.
Madison Clark on the drive. Steps around. Josie Matz gets to the rack. Shot falls off. And Nelson there to control it for the Saints. Dinodonis races ahead. Sets up Mora. She'll try for 3. Just a little bit short. Dingus there for the offensive rebound. She'll work it back outside, and the sets will rerun their stuff. Now Dinodonis crosses over Three on its way, just a little bit too short. And Aragon covers up for the Wolves.
Well, a battle to watch down low. Watch Claire Dingus having to box out Alexis Wright, 6'2" sophomore. That is a tough task. Now Emily Nelson gets the job. Saints are going to do everything they can to just try and keep her off the boards.
Western Oregon reverses it back across the offense. And Callie McClave with some good space knocks down the three. Ball batted around for the moment, rolls into the Western Oregon bench. It'll stay with the Saints, 19 on the shot clock. Morris to inbound. Now Dedenanis looks inside. Morris with some good post-up position. Now kicks to the corner. Josie Matz with a wide-open three. Off the back heel. Nelson keeps it alive for a moment, but it winds up with McClave, and she'll steer it the other direction for Western Oregon. Now a little hesitation move from McCarver. Allows Wright to set up and down on the low blocks. Tries to go to work on Nelson. Emily Nelson stands her ground. And a foul called on the Wolves beneath the basket. This one going against Meadow Aragon. So good to see some activity and some fire from Emily Nelson beneath the Saints basket, beneath the Western Oregon basket, rather.
Yeah, Jeff, I love watching the battles down low when you got two good post players. Every inch in the paint, it's like taking 100 yards. I mean, it is really hard. Those two are not going to give any inch. And Emily Nelson right there winning the first big battle of the night.
Josie Matz looks inside. Morris flashes to the high post, now steps out beyond the three-point line. They look for Dingus in the paint. Now she's down low. Wheels around Aragon, gets to the glass and reverses it up and in. Claire Dingus with 4 of the Saints' 6 early points. Very active down in the low blocks for St. Martin's. Now McCarver banks it high off the glass. That one bounced above the square on the backboard. Back come the Saints. Morris relieves. Matt's out on the wing. Now Dedenanis backs out between the circles. 10 on the shot clock as Dedenanis goes to work. Morris comes out to set the screen. Dedenanis rolls to her right, kicks to the corner. Dingus on the drive along the baseline. Shot off the side of the backboard results in a shot clock violation for the Saints. Good defensive stand there from the Wolves. They just did not let the Saints get any part of that motion offense moving at all.
No, and the Saints, I think, were a little out of sorts. Players just not at their right spots at the right time. And Western Oregon comes up on that one-on-one with Tierney Dedenanis. That's a hard task to do. Nice effort by the Wolves.
McCarver drifts to her right. Feathers a pass down low for Aragon. Bluffs one way, comes back the other. Tries to muscle a shot over Dingus. Won't fall. Dingus covers up. And back come the Saints in transition. Morris pulls up just inside the free throw line and knocks down the mid-range shot. And the Saints now lead it by 5, 8-3. Good secondary break for the Saints on that one.
Well, you love to see in the transition game, Lauren Morris just drives right to the middle of the paint, and Western Oregon's defense is so worried about the cutter, they forget about the ball handler, and she has a wide-open shot.
McClave tries her hand at another three. That one won't go. And now here comes Dedenanis. Gets into the corner, now backs it out. Matz now. Dingus for three. Well, too strong. And Kennegamby now on the floor for Western Oregon. Now it's the Wolves in transition. Out of control shot from Aragon, just bounced off the bottom of the backboard. And here comes Dedenanis. Finds Dingus in stride, gets to the glass, and lays it in. Great start for the Saints. How about that dime dropped off by Dedenanis? And Claire Dingus already with half a dozen.
Add that one to the highlight reel, Jeff. I'm sure we'll see that one in slow motion again. What a beautiful feed.
Good stuff. Now McCarver on the drive. Skitters to her left, leaves it down low. And Kennegamby hacked from behind. And she will be at the free throw line once we return. 4:25 left here in the first quarter. And it's the Saints with a very delightful 7-point lead. Well, Austin, one of the things that has plagued the Saints as they have dropped 5 of the last 6 is just getting out to a very slow start in their contests. That is not the case so far. They are shooting 50% from the floor, out-rebounding the Wolves +5. They're doing everything right in the game's first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I said in the pregame show, Western Oregon, one of the best rebounding teams. They're going to get down low and win that battle most times. You know, how is Emily Nelson and Claire Dingus going to be able to handle it? So far, they've been the more physical team down on the glass. And Western Oregon just hasn't been able to open up any lanes towards the basket.
Canby first, good on the first of 2 free throws. Eyes the rim, sizes it up. That one rolls up over the lip of the rim. So 10-5 our score. First substitution onto the deck for the Saints. It's Shanoa Louie. Austin, Shanoa Louie has played a pivotal role for the Saints over the last couple of contests. She's really starting to come alive unto herself here over these last couple games.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you have players going down due to injury or due to COVID, just that's every team in the conference is dealing with that this year, right? It gives opportunities for other players to step up, and Louie, just a freshman, she's going to be a very special talent. If she progresses like Ryan Clear and Claire Dingus have, man, the Saints got a 3-headed monster. She can do a lot of things inside, outside.
Dingus misses the 3, races in, and banks in the putback. Tough angle on that putback. Dingus knew it was off as soon as she released it. Ran in, corralled it, knocked it home, back to a 7-point lead. Now McCarver, guarded closely by Morris, drives on her. Morris reaches in, commits the foul, and McCarver good on the layup. She'll head to the line for the and one. Trissay McCarver showing off what she can do. She is a quick, explosive guard.
Yeah, you give her that first step out on the edge, she's going to make you pay. She's going to get to the rim, and your help side defense has to be quick to knock her off. You can't let her get into the paint, otherwise she's going to find a way to score or at least draw a foul.
Trissay McCarver, very impressive player. She's a junior, 5'5". 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists a game. Those are spectacular numbers. Also leads the team in steals. She's good on the free throw. Good old-fashioned three-point play. A little confusion defensively for the Wolves, but they recover. Now Morris crosses over, loses control midair, gets it back. Can't quite catch her own pass in midair like that. She's called for the walk. And the turnover gives it over to the Wolves. Saints will pick up some pressure here in backcourt. The first we've seen of this look here so far in this game. Wolves break it easily. Winkler glides down the left wing. Reverse it back out, kick to the corner. 3 on its way for Anna McClave. That no good. The putback won't go either.
2 good looks for the Wolves, just unable to connect. But that's a good sign right there for Western Oregon. Again, offense starting to click into the next gear for them.
No Ryan Clear for the Saints. So far, so good. A little pick and pop opportunity. Pass rolls through, but Dingus recovers. 10 on the shot clock for Matz in the corner. Now Louie spins around her defender. Good post play, good presence, good composure from Shanoa Louie, and she's into the scoring ledger. 14-8 St. Martin's.
Yeah, she just makes it look so natural with it too. For a true freshman, Christy Martin and her staff, a heck of a find. She's going to be a good ball player, but a foul there on the other end.
Yeah, Dee Donis can't quite believe it. All she did was move her feet, and Callie McClave tripped over one of those dogs, and she will head to the line. So the sisters for Western Oregon on the floor together. Anna and Callie McClave out of Corvallis. This is Callie at the line. By the way, Austin, there's a former Evergreen player in the gym tonight, Kaylin Williams-Kennedy. Played some collegiate basketball across town for the Gooey Ducks. We'll see her at some point. She's one of those 10 players who sees a fairly significant amount of playing time on the floor for Western Oregon, averaging about 5.5 points per game. Yet to see her so far. Saints flatten things out now. Dingus pops. Gathers the pass and a whistle away from the ball. An offensive foul going. against St. Martin's. That one called on Josie Matz, her second here in the first quarter, fourth on the Saints. So for the final 2:25 of the first, Western Oregon will be in the bonus. Saints pick up pressure once again at backcourt. Matz picks it off, races to the rack and lays it in, just hanging back in the tall grass. Anticipated that pass perfectly. Basically knocked it ahead to herself.
Yeah, just like a free safety, just waiting for that pass. Saints changed up their pressure as well, throw a different look at Western Oregon. I believe it should be two.
And it will be. Eternity Reed, fresh on the floor for St. Martin's, commits the foul. And it will send Western Oregon to the line for the double bonus. McCarver will step to the stripe.
And that's exactly what you want if you're Western Oregon. Slow the game down after unable to break the press. And now you get to knock down a couple free throws, shorten that lead, and kind of reset your defense.
These two teams kind of having eerily similar seasons. They're certainly not on the same roller coaster ride, but very similar. Saints come in at 2-6 in the GNAC. Western Oregon 3-6. Both teams average 65 points per game. They mirror each other in a lot of ways. Different styles, different personnel, of course. Different types of personnel, in fact. Now Dingus in the corner. Couple of lefty dribbles to her left. Reverse it back for Morris, under 10 on the shot clock. Now Dingus from about 17 feet squares it up, knocks it down. Claire Dingus now already with 8 points in this game. She's been everywhere, Austin.
Yeah, and she's just sitting right now, right in that mid-range zone. She scored there from a couple times, even had opportunities to drive to the basket. I think the Saints just need to keep getting that ball right to Dingus in that zone on the floor.
I misspoke. Claire Dingus is now in double figures.
Wow.
That last bucket gives her 10 points and 4 rebounds already in this contest. We're not even 8.5 minutes into this thing, and Dingus already starting to put up those 20 and 10 numbers, but she might have those figures by the time we reach the halftime break.
I mean, Dingus has always stepped up in the bigger games, and here, travel call. But again, this is one of the biggest games on the schedule. Saints need this win here tonight. Start getting that momentum on their side coming down the home stretch.
That travel call came a travel too late. Madison Clark looked like she took the extra step before she started the drive. Saints with a 7-point lead and possession as we near the 1-minute mark of the first quarter. Dee Donis already with 3 assists. Sets up Reed. She drives. Pulls up. They bounce it down low for Louie. Offensive foul should be called, and it will be. She did displace the defender. I think that there might have been a little extra motion as Kenna Gamby fell to the floor. But that will go the other way 9 times out of 10. Offensive foul on Louie, her first. So give it back to Western Oregon. They trail by 7. Here on the near side, it's Madison Clark. They look down low, and Shanoa Louie reaches back, sticks out a paw, intercepts the pass. Now Dee Donis calls her own number. Now kicks outside for Reed. Gets it back. Fires for 3 and buries it. Tierney Dee Donis on the drive. Probably could have laid it in. Instead kicked it out, then trailed all the way back behind the baseline. Came back in bounds, took the pass from Reed. I don't know that you ever draw it up that way, but Austin, that's a beautiful play. I'd love to see teams do stuff like that more often. She was a good 4 feet beyond the baseline before she came back in bounds, did reestablish position to get there.
And a careless turnover there for the Saints. And now final shot opportunity. I got to get the ball in the hands of Dingus. 8 seconds, though.
Now Dee Donis rolls off the high screen. They kick it out for Dingus. She'll try for 3. It does rim out. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Quite a first quarter it was for St. Martin's. They lead it 21-13. Second quarter action coming up on the other side of this break. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Second quarter action between the Wolves and the Saints getting underway. And all of a sudden we are joined by a very special color analyst for at least the next couple of possessions. Men's head coach Aaron Landon jumping on the headset, donning the microphone. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I don't know about that one. Tyranny, she's super fun to watch. This is fun. It'd be a lot funner if we were playing after this, but I'm not going to talk about us tonight.
Well, I was actually just about to say, I know that you'd much rather be down in your office probably getting ready, going over your game notes for Seattle Pacific tonight. That's not the case. Hopefully we are able to get that game in at some point before the season goes on. You're off to such a great start in this season. Talk about what you think has been some of the big keys for you to get things turned around so far this year for the men's team.
Honestly, who cares right now? I got my two daughters on the way. I'm going to show both of them how Claire Dingus plays. I hope my older daughter turns into a hybrid of Claire Dingus and Emily Nelson. No, we've been great. We just got the right guys, and that's usually what it's about is just finding the right group and the right chemistry. Sucks to not play, but this may be a blessing in disguise in terms of an extra day off before we go for 3 games in 5 days on the road.
I know you said you didn't want to talk about it, but I wanted to at least get that question out of the way first here. Now we'll settle into this one here.
It's a high-scoring quarter to open things up.
So it's very efficient at the offensive end of the floor in that first quarter. Dingus already in double digits. She gets a touch here in the high post. Flashes to her right, loses control, recovers. They kick to the corner. It's DeDonis on the drive. Several defenders collapse on her. It's taken away. The Wolves in transition.
I guess you can call it a collapse. A lot of contact there, but I guess I shouldn't be biased over here.
Be as biased as you want.
Tyranny moves so well. There's not a lot of guards that we call that wiggle. She's just got a lot of wiggle in her game and really, really good at kind of commanding the floor and never gets rattled by pressure. That's a hard thing to find, pretty hard to teach. She's just sort of got it figured out, has great feel, and knows how to, kind of pick her pace.
Yeah, a few guards in the GNAC can change speeds the way that Tyranny DeDonis does it. Now Dingus with her back to the basket from the elbow extended. Morris slides to her right. Bothered by Callie McClave. 7 on the shot clock. DeDonis
great pass.
Feathers a pass over the top for Louie. Couldn't quite corral it, and it rolls out of bounds.
Coach Martin smart on that. Just kind of move the floor around and clear out the backside help. That's where those lobs are always open.
More pressure in backcourt from St. Martin's. It's been largely effective thus far. They clear the timeline. Madison Clark skips it across. 3 on its way. Bounds out. Dingus there to cover up. Fouled from behind.
Big shocker to see Dingus get a rebound, huh? Nature running its course out here. What a cool thing that you can pick up full court. I mean, Claire's usually a 4, right? And to have a forward where you can put them at the top of the press, that just gives you so much defensive flexibility.
I'm not sure how much of an opportunity you've had to see this squad play so far in person this year. One of the things that's been super effective, too, when they play the 1-3-1, they'll stick Dingus up at the top of it. She's just so good at anticipating passes, stepping into passing lanes. That's how so many of her steals are created.
Yeah, the thing about that 1-3-1 is you better have a lot of energy at the top of the press. So usually it's somebody that's, smaller, kind of a typical guard up at top, and she's just got such an incredible motor and such a good athlete. Yeah, that's a treat because now you've got great speed, motor, and length, and you just see her arms. Yeah, she's got great length and can just do a lot. You're not always going to get steals, but make those passes go a little higher and allow the defense to rotate. That's super helpful in that zone.
Carver in trouble for a moment. Finds Winkler. That 3 won't fall. And now Madison Clark loses her feet, and it's Louie racing out.
Good
She'll wait for some help. And the Saints will reset the offense. Morris faces up. She'll just try from there.
Don't always get to watch them, get to kind of look at the box scores, but, one of the cool things just about being in athletics full time is get to come in and watch Coach Martin coach practice a lot. And one of the things they do a really good job of is, they go through a lot of situational stuff in practice. And so getting players comfortable with time and score, that's such an important thing. And every time I'm in here, they'll go through their dynamic warm-up stuff, but it seems like they're really, really focused on managing the game, time and score situations, and exploiting matchups. Really, really good way to get your players prepared, just letting them see those scenarios early. That's good D.
Aragon turns around but just smashes right into a brick wall in the form of Louie. Behind the back pass. A little bit behind Nelson. DeDonis.
That's a foul.
After
That'll
the ball.
go our way. Yep.
And she absorbs the brunt of the contact. Amber Winkler and DeDonis go sprawling to the deck.
Got to have some serious swagger to be coming down and start throwing behind the back passes, but I love it.
We've had a lot of action in this quarter. However, no one has scored in the second frame. We still sit at 21-13, the same score we had as the first quarter drew to a close. Saints will look to change that up here. Here's Louie on the drive. Staggers to her right. Eternity Reed handles for the moment. Now Louie for three. In the deep corner, it won't fall. And Aragon clears it out, but her pass won't connect with Tracey McCarver. McCarver took her eye off it for just a moment. A careless backcourt turnover for Western Oregon.
That's really good, simple action. I hope they go back to that because as simple as it is, you get the ball to the elbow. Emily Nelson diving to the basket. You got to stay on her because she ducks in so well. All of a sudden, that clears that gap. That's really hard to guard unless you duck in off that three, and I don't think you want to do that with our team.
Matt's back on the floor. Dingus had run off the court for a moment, but she's not only back in the gym, but back on the floor. Work things around back to the perimeter. Stepping in, taking it away, Callie McClave. She brings it the other way, steps through DeDonis, gets to the rack, switches right to left and lays it in. Heck of a defensive play at one end, takes it all the way back and finishes. It draws Western Oregon back within 6, and those are our first points of the quarter. Another steal. This one now it's Meadow Aragon the other way.
Western Oregon doing a good job of just collapsing on, this advantage early that they just get, clearing space and racking it.
Aragon having all kinds of trouble with Nelson down low.
Oh, gosh, I wanted to get started on the officiating. I'm just going to leave that one there. That's great defense. Emily Nelson just walling up. Officials being told, you got to respect verticality, and she just did a really good job showing her hands. It's really, really good defense. Makes you second-guess trying to score when you've just got a solid defender walling up in front of you, not jumping at stuff.
Matt's hoping one of her teammates will join her on her side of the floor. Shot clock set to expire. Dingus walks into an 8-footer along the baseline. Nelson there for the putback. Now gets it again and lays it in.
That's what I want to show my daughter tonight. That's our favorite offense. We call that see-ball, get-ball in the Landon household. There's nothing more demoralizing than playing, full shot clock at D, and then all of a sudden you just got an awesome offensive rebounder taking the ball and running their own offense.
I love that. Sometimes it's just that simple. See ball, get ball. A near travel at the Western Oregon end. Clarkinson kicks it out for McCarver. Had a contested three, won't fall. Josie Matz comes out with it. Bounces a pass to head to Lauren Morris, but her shot. Look at McCarver race down the floor. And Western Oregon does a great job saving that back in bounds. Looked like it was going to be an easy transition deuce for the Saints. Instead, Western Oregon forces the turnover and brings it back the other way. Will this be an offensive foul? It will. Look at Tierney DeDonis step outside the restricted area and draw the charge on Amber Winkler. And that'll bring us to a stoppage in play.
That's just a great defensive rotation, and when you got to backside the plays like that, that's probably why Coach Martin looks so relaxed out there. She knows that she's got the help built in, and doesn't look too stressed out. They're playing well.
Well, Coach, we've reached a timeout. I'm happy just to sit here and talk shop with you here through this timeout. Hey, by the way, you've sort of disappointed me here a little bit. I thought you were going to get a little bit more out there, a little more cosmic, a little more weird. You promised us Bill Walton. You've given us just like the best brand of analysis. No offense to Austin Burns, of course.
Well, Austin might not have dabbled in some of the self-exploration I was happy to take part in as a young guy, and that's the common denominator between me and Bill Walton. Him and his Summer of Love stuff back in his UCLA days, and me as a young teen at UC Davis out on picnic day, and that's where we'll kind of cut it. Just leave that right there. No, this is so much fun to be out here. I got my whole team out here.
It's great to see them.
The band is such a difference maker. I mean, we've played a couple teams with the band this year. This is awesome. They weren't here at every single game my first year, and obviously last year we didn't even have the bleachers pulled out. Yeah, that's something that will never get old for me. When you walk out on the floor and, you know, the band's playing, you still get goosebumps. And, yeah, just an awesome environment tonight on homecoming. Got a lot of alumni and Hall of Famers in here. Had a few drinks to warm up at the Hall of Fame luncheon. And
iced teas, of course.
Yeah.
Coach, Marcus Pavilion is such an interesting gym, too. Let's talk about this place for a second. I know there's a lot of gyms with some great personality in the Northwest, but none of them quite look anything like this. What are a couple of your favorite things about this venue and playing basketball and coaching inside a room like this?
Yeah, well, first off, it's something our players have adjusted to, but I think it's hard for opposing players sometimes. You know, you get into managing the game. Time score stuff can actually be tricky in Marcus because you've got the Jumbotron or whatever you want to call it, and a lot of times players coming down the floor, they see the shot clock, they see the time, but they don't always see the score. You got to slow down or kind of, you know, get your vision on that big board, and that can throw teams off. The best thing is just that. When you have the band on your baseline and you have the student section right across from the bench, the great thing about Marcus is, you know, you come in and you're in the lower bowl. In some of these gyms where the, you know, upstairs is kind of more easily accessible, you know, people walk up high and it gets scattered out, but I'm looking down and we got this side pretty packed in. The lower bowl just fills up, and so, you know, it feels condensed, even though it's such a big facility. Yeah, but more than anything for student athletes here on the men's and women's team, the gym access is what makes this gym special. They have unlimited access. You want to play in intramurals or get up shots as a regular student, you go over to Charneski. But, you know, their players are in here all the time. Our players are in here all the time. We take turns on the shooting gun, and it's just an incredible advantage to be in here getting shots up all week before you come in to play a game.
Yeah, Marie getting her first burn tonight. Commits the foul.
I'll tell you, during the pandemic year, a year ago, we were trying to get in early in the morning and get some of our young players to, yeah, just get out of the dorm because they were locked in there, you know, taking online classes and just for morale and mental health. So we would come in here and we would make it mandatory. We'd lift some weights up here and then get down and shoot. I kid you not, Lauren Morris was here on a non-mandatory deal by herself every single day. And then, you know, Claire Dingus, there's one other that was in here quite a bit, but nobody was in here more than Lauren Morris. She was in here all the time just getting up shots, always had a smile on her face. And you just know that, yeah, if somebody's doing that, that's tough. It's a good, strong move. Keep ducking in, Emily Nelson. You got workers on this team, and that's why you know their young players are going to be really good long term. Just because they come in and work, and it's self-motivated. It's not a mandatory deal for them.
Coach, I think you might have also jinxed us a little bit. You talked about a high-scoring first quarter. We were deadlocked at 2 points apiece here in the second quarter.
That was because I messed up the mojo. Austin and you had great synergy, and yeah, I came up here over-analyzing and over-talking as coaches tend to do.
Now, open look at a three. That one bounced off. Cass White can't connect. And a loose ball foul whistled against Western Oregon. We'll send it the other way with exactly 3 minutes showing on the first half clock.
I'm going to sound really ignorant here. What do we do with fouls in the quarter system? It resets on the quarter or at the half?
It does reset on the quarter, and it goes to the double bonus at foul number 5.
Well,
so just like the WNBA and the NBA.
So I would venture to say there's quite a few fouls here in a quarter, right? No?
Well, it's ticking up there. It's
8 and 5 minutes.
That's a little bit of a high number, I would say, in 7 minutes of action. Teams aren't usually into the double bonus with 3 minutes left in a quarter. Dingus with the offensive rebound, kicks it back for Didadonis. Rips a pass down low for Louie, but she's called for 3 seconds in the key.
That's all right. Claire's still running that see ball, get ball, and like I said, that's what we're here for. Most demoralizing thing. It's another good defensive possession. She ripped that off of a free throw as well, right?
She did. State's 0 for 4 at the line here in the quarter. Had some opportunities to score, but just have not been able to get it done. Now a three from the corner.
Contest.
Bounds off the side of the backboard as Dingus closed her out. Now Matt's the other way. Slams on the brakes, kicks outside. Emma Reed will try for 3. Just a little bit too strong. Another offensive rebound and put back attempt for Dingus. That won't go, but she tracks it down.
What do you know? It's more of that see ball, get ball. Thank God for Claire Dingus.
Now Dee Adonis out near the timeline. Saints flatten things out near the baseline. Going to have to hustle here. Reed works her way toward the baseline. And a shot clock violation for St. Martin's.
Now Maxie was out for a while, right?
She missed the first 2 months of the season.
Was that like a nose or something? I remember seeing her taped up in the face.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was.
You got really, really good length at that guard spot, and I haven't gotten to watch them a ton, but if that's what she is, just great length up top. That lets you just have so much versatility.
Bit of defensive breakdown there for St. Martin's. Aragon rolls around everyone. Takes kind of the scenic route on her way to the rack.
That's going to be an easy one.
So Dingus will head back to the line.
That's a really interesting thing you talk about, resetting the fouls every single quarter, makes it, that's probably good for the pace of the game, right? And just in terms of limiting, bonus and double bonus and just people don't want to watch free throws.
I've been to a number of men's basketball games where a team has already committed 7 fouls at the 13-minute mark of a half, and then they're just shooting free throws for every subsequent foul the rest of that half. And yes, things do sometimes bog down. Let's get your take on that. What do you think? Do you prefer? Would you favor the men's game going to 4 quarters for that reason, or for that among other reasons?
The men's game should probably do what every other level of basketball and women's basketball has figured out, and that's to play 4 quarters. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about that. Obviously, the reset's really interesting, but I like that a lot. The one thing I think has been good with men's basketball, they've figured out the shot clock a little bit, like offensive rebounds, resetting it to 20, just speed up the game. I think that's really good. I think a shorter shot clock makes it more exciting. But, yeah, even when we draw fouls, I mean, Lord knows I don't want to watch my team shoot free throws. We want to play basketball. That's a great thing with that. Yeah, the quarters, I know listeners probably don't want to asking questions about how the women's game works, but what a great thing where you're not just shooting free throws a few minutes in and they reset that and you get more action and watch them play basketball instead of just standing around shooting free throws.
Well, for my money anyway, that's at the top of the list for the reasons that the men's game should, in fact, probably follow suit and go to 4 quarters at all levels of college basketball. Another thing I like about it, too, it's kind of more in-game strategy. You got that many more opportunities for last-second shots as well. Some of that situational basketball that you were talking about a moment ago that this women's team, you watch them go through and practice, and, of course, you do the same with your squad as well. But some of those things all are predicated around some of those last-second strategy type situations. Well, you've got twice as many of those with 4 quarters. You've got twice as many chances for 2-for-1s, for instance, as well. Twice as many opportunities for buzzer beaters.
Absolutely, and that's a great shot. I think it's really fun. Baseline out of bounds possessions, that's really an art. Not just for what you're going to run, but for how teams are going to defend it.
Laura Morris leaks out, spins around the defender.
Even though she missed that shot, that's such great feel for knowing that a defender is right there and just working her pivot. That stuff that, players think is mundane and boring stuff. Obviously, people say, well, the men's game is faster and more athletic, but it's just so much more fundamentally sound sometimes on the women's side. See her come down on 2 feet and just find her way into a shot off the pivot. A lot of times you watch women's basketball, and I don't get to watch them a ton, but you really watch it, and, just a lot more fundamentally sound, patient, and just more fluid. Yeah, Lauren Morris is really, really good. Just watching her do that. I know that seems like a small thing, but sheesh, I've been begging our guards to slow down and come to a jump stop and pivot around. Lets you work leverage and angles more than just going as fast as you can and hoping something good happens.
One of the things I love about Lauren Morris, too, is she just has a smile on her face, basically from tip-off all the way to the final buzzer. She plays with so much joy for this game. I don't know that I've ever been around another player at any level on either side of basketball who just seems to just love playing the game as much as at least she wears it on her face. So great to see her knock down that three a couple of moments ago as well. The final 10 seconds of the first half. Dididonis hands it off for Dingus. They'll kick back out for Dididonis. Slides to her right. Three on the way. That one a little bit short, and that will do it for the first half of action.
Well, if we're going into Bill Walton mode, part of the reason Lauren Morris is smiling is because she's from the beautiful Southern California coastline in Long Beach, if I'm not mistaken, where the sun shines about 325 days a year. And if it's night, you're loving that beautiful marine layer that comes in and burns off around noon.
Well, Coach, this has been a whole lot of fun. Kind of makes me wish you could come hang out on the broadcast a little bit more often. I got to apologize for Austin. I certainly wasn't trying to sell him short in any way earlier.
Where did he go? He probably knows that this broadcast is in shambles right now.
He bagged, he quit. He just turned in his resignation, I think. He just walked over to Bob and said, that's it. I'm out of here.
I made that mark about self-exploration and the summer of love, and I think he's up in the HR office.
But as the lights go down, we are, in fact, going to turn things over for the Hall of Fame ceremonies here for halftime. But, yes, that's to answer your question, though, Coach, before you jump off air, that's where Austin went. He's down here helping orchestrate everything here behind the scenes. Austin does so many things for this athletic department, and he's going to go perform one of his other duties right now. So it's halftime. Saints up by 10. We'll take an extended break, but fans, stay with us. We've got all the halftime ceremonies coming up here in just a moment. And again, Coach, thank you so much for stopping by on the broadcast.
Always
great to have you.
Yeah, we need to do this more often.
I love it. Good stuff.
The best thing that happened to her while attending SMU was being part of the Hawaiian Club and getting to share her culture with others, especially those from the mainland. I'd like to give a shout out to all her friends, Rui, of the Hawaiian Club, and all her teammates on the women's soccer team. Next we have Vidar Arrington, fourth year exercise science major. Next we have Esme Morena, first year. She'd like to give a shout out to her friends, family, Romies, and Darren. Next we have Bree Lynn Heradura, first year business administration major. Best thing that happened to her while attending SMU was attending her first dance. She wants to give a shout out to Yuli for nominating her and to all her friends who encouraged and voted for her. Next, Penny Abreu from Maui, second year exercise science major. Best thing that happened to her while being at SMU is her new friends she met and memories she made here. She'd like to give a shout out to the Hawaiian fans for making her college life here better. Next we have Madeline O'Neill, fourth year Best thing for Madeline is attending SMU is meeting her best friend at freshman orientation. They're still together to this day. Shout out to Christian Zepeda and Peter Rink. Now let's meet the top two with 344 votes. I'd like to present Madison Boo, second year. This thing that happened to her while being at SMU was given the chance to further her education, meeting wonderful new friends, and giving back to the SMU community by helping others through tutoring. She wants to give a shout out to her friends Yay, Ruby, Cree, Liv, and Andrew. With 351 votes, I'd like to present Andrew Bagger to the case. He put it. I didn't make friends. I made fans. He'd like to shout out to Madison, Ina, and Louis. This year's homecoming go to Corpus. Give the winners one last round of applause. Let's keep it Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Marcus Pavilion. His vision was for creating a new place on campus for activity, sports, and community. He helped to raise funds for the facility by having a fee system in place that was paid a quarter at a time. Our next inductee, the name to attend tonight, is Sam Washington of track and field. During his 4 years at St. Martin's, Montara's Sam Washington Jr. established himself as one of the best throwers in GNAC history. Washington holds the indoor school records in the shot put and weight throw, and Washington also owns 2 school records in outdoor competition in the shot put and the discus. Let's give it up for Sam Washington. The next inductee into the Hall of Fame is Lacey McGladry of softball. Lacey played for the Saints from 2011 to 2014. McGladry ranks among the best in Saints softball history. At the plate, placing 4th in batting average, 3rd in slugging percentage, and 2nd in on-base percentage. She was 2013 GNAC Player of the Year, 2011 GNAC Freshman of the Year, and is one of the only 7 players in GNAC history to earn first-team All-Conference 4 times. McGladry also received national recognition, earning 3 NFCA All-Region selections, including 2 2013 All-American honors and 1 D2 CCA All-Region vote. Her 2013 season was one for the record books, playing in all 57 games. Led SMU to 41 wins. McGladry was unstoppable at the plate, hitting .397 with 8 home runs, 33 RBIs, posted a team high 1,078 on-base percentage. She stole 18 of 19 bases on the year, and she ended her career first in school history in runs scored, 3rd in hits, and 4th in home runs and doubles. Ladies and gentlemen, Lacey McGladry. Our final inductee into the Hall of Honor is the 2008 women's golf team featuring Lauren Simpson, Shailene Moore, Amy Roland, Alexi English, and Stacey Boyd, and head coach Bob Grisham. They were the first women's golf team to reach the NCAA West Regionals in 2008, with records that still stand at the time of their inauguration. They finished 3rd overall at the regional, only 2 strokes away from advancing to the NCAA National Championships. Made up of 5 golfers, their 3rd place finish was the highest finish ever in school history. The women were also the first team in program history to achieve a national ranking, cracking into the top 25. They were also the first team in program history to win a tournament, taking the Notre Dame Invitational by 25 strokes. Their 293 round score also remains the program's lowest single round score. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2008 women's golf team. Now at this time I'd like to introduce SMU Sports Information Director Austin Burns.
We have one final announcement to make. As many of you know, St. Martin's Athletic Director Bob Grisham will be retiring after 37 years of service. At this time, on behalf of St. Martin's Athletic Department and the university, we would like to announce the unveiling of the Bob Grisham Raising the Bar Award. This award will be given to a student athlete or coach each homecoming week that went the extra mile to provide a long-lasting impact on their program and the department. The recipient will be selected each year and honored during the homecoming weekend. On behalf of everyone at St. Martin's, we'd like to thank you all for your time and effort to make this athletic department a special place on the campus and in the community. Everyone, a round of applause for St. Martin's Athletic Director, Bob Grisham. And another round of applause for 2021 Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor honorees, Father Myra Gold, Sam Washington, Lacey McGladry, and the 2008 Women's Golf Team.
Hey, welcome back inside Marks Pavilion. We're just a second away from the start of the second half between the Saints and the Wolves. Saints with a 10-point lead, their largest of the game. Very low-scoring second quarter after a high-flying first quarter. Saints led it 21-13 at the end of the first frame. Just 12 points total scored in that second quarter. Many thanks to head coach Aaron Landon from the men's side of St. Martin's basketball for stopping by and hanging out on the broadcast. Austin, I truly meant no offense.
No offense taken,
You and I
Jeff.
are total rubes when it comes to basketball knowledge. That dude has forgotten more about basketball than you and I will ever know in our entire lives.
Yeah, no, Jeff, I'm just a couch coach here, just calling things out. I mean, you got a real professional in here breaking it all down. So I'm not even going to try and copy what Landon was able to do in that second quarter.
I was even a little intimidated to be on the air with him myself. He started saying stuff, and I was like, oh, my gosh, he's blowing my mind right now. I learned so much just in that second quarter, just listening to Aaron Landon talk about the game of basketball, kind of getting to see the game through his eyes and seeing what the Saints were trying to accomplish at both ends of the floor. It's a 28-18 hour score. Saints with that double-digit lead. Dingus flashes free along the baseline. Gathers the pass from Didadonis and knocks it home, and the Saints now lead it by 12, 30-18. If you're just now joining us, Western Oregon without head coach Holly Howard Carpenter tonight. And the Saints are without their second leading scorer, Ryan Clear. Three-pointer squared up by Madison Clark at the Western Oregon end. They try to work it inside for Lauren Morris, but tough pass in traffic. Couldn't quite reel it in. So acting head coach on the night for the Wolves, assistant coach Katie Girton, doing a nice job patrolling the sideline in front of the Wolves bench. McCarver trying to work herself free. A whistle away from the ball, and it's actually going against Lauren Morris, chasing McCarver over the top of that screen. Bit of a tough call. I thought they may have even called, I thought when the whistle blew, it might have been a moving screen whistled against Alexis Wright. By the way, folks, we may be having some technical difficulties. Everything seems to be flowing nicely. The stream should be back up and running. We know we lost connection there for a few moments during the halftime break. That's why we didn't do much of any of a halftime show at all. We had to get everything
you love
rolling again on the
technology
broadcast.
when it works, right? You know.
And when you don't, you hate its guts. So knocked down to a 7-point lead now. Western Oregon stringing 5 points together after the Saints had assumed their largest lead at 12. Now Dingus gets right back into the flow. Both buckets for the Saints here in the third quarter, courtesy of Claire Dingus, give her a team-high 16 points, exactly half of the St. Martin scoring output so far.
And we talked about her a lot in the first half in the pregame show, and rightfully so. I mean, Claire Dingus is just on fire, and she's starting to really get into form coming down the stretch, and that's obviously a great sign for the Saints. They're just looking for that other piece, and is it Lauren Morris just missing on that three?
Her three in the closing moments of the second quarter built the lead to 10 for St. Martin's. As Josie Matz will step off and Shanoa Louie will rejoin the mix for the Saints. So the 5 on the floor for St. Martin's. Lauren Morris, Emily Nelson, Shanoa Louie, Tierney Didadonis, and Claire Dingus. Dingus a rebound away from yet another double-double. She's got 16 points, 9 boards already in this contest with a ton of basketball yet to play. Nelson sliding to her left, trying to keep pace with Meadow Aragon on her drive. Commits the foul. I believe that's going against Nelson. We had a little mix-up at the score table. Yes, that one going on Nelson. That's her second, and the second on the Saints here in the third quarter. So, Austin, it's Hall of Fame weekend. It's homecoming weekend. We're going to be joined by another special guest here in just a few moments, from what I understand. Former Saints men's basketball head coach and current athletic director Bob Grisham will be stopping by to chat with us.
Yeah, talk about a historic career, 37 years at the helm of an athletic director. There's not many people who've reached that mark in their career. It's such a demanding position, and the job that he's done, I mean, he's a legend. There's no question about it. Yeah, I mean, he's got multiple teams in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure his plaque will be going up there pretty quick as well. And, he's the reason we have a Hall of Fame. You know, that came in under him. So it'll be great to talk with Bob Grisham around the 5-minute mark here of the quarter.
Meanwhile, tons of basketball left in this one. It's been a pretty solid game thus far. Freewheeling first quarter, both teams battening down the hatches at the defensive end in the second quarter. Saints outscoring Western Oregon 7-5 in that second quarter. Now Western Oregon the other direction.
It's just giving us a taste. We had the offense in the first quarter, defense in the second. We're getting it all tonight.
Aragon steps into the paint. Her leaner won't fall. And Lauren Morris hauls down the board. Dingus hits Shanoa Louie, making her way into the paint. She's sealed off, nearly fouled from behind. Needs to get rid of it. Can she? She cannot. She's dispossessed from behind, but a foul is called. Callie McClave reaching in to jab the ball away. Also got a big piece of arm. That's her second. And the third here in the third quarter for Western Oregon.
Yeah, Saints, they've had some great inbounding plays this season. Instead, just opting to go out to Dina Dawson and let her set. Now going with that horn action. We see that quite a bit. Rotating out Louie now into it, and she sets heck of a screen.
Pass deflected. Shinoe able to recover. Leaves it down low for Nelson. Lefty shot is up, no good. Gets her own. Will head to the line after the putback won't fall, but coming down hard across her shoulders was Kenna Gamby. That's her first, but the team's fourth already with 6 minutes and change remaining in the third. So St. Martin's will be in the double bonus for the balance of the third quarter.
Well, Nelson was just wide open underneath the basket right when Louie caught that ball. She just couldn't get to her in time, but then able to reward Nelson. And, man, I mean, Coach Aaron talked about her quite a bit in that second quarter. She works hard. I mean, it's hard to find another player on the court, that's going to put in the effort that Emily Nelson does for a full 40 minutes.
Western Oregon sends their 11th player off the bench. Well, 11th player from their roster into the game. It's Kaylin Williams-Kennedy making her first appearance, a former Evergreen State College basketball player. Well, that's the classic case. Callie McClave looked up, saw a teammate wide open standing in the corner. Trouble is, she also was holding 2 cups of water because she's not checked into the game. Callie McClave trying to set up Madison Clark for a wide open 3. But Clark currently sitting on the bench. Just has to let it sail into her hip and off the water cooler. Williams-Kennedy makes an immediate impact, stepping into the passing lane and picking one off. She'll steer it the other way. Drifts to her left. Now faces up on Dingus, lifts up her dribble. Now defers to McCarver. Gamby comes to set the screen. McCarver kicks back outside for Williams-Kennedy. Pulls up from 12 feet. Shot way too strong. It bounds off the hands and out of bounds. Meadow Aragon couldn't quite control the rebound. So the Saints lead back to 10, 33-23. Just 10 points in the game for Western Oregon across the last 15 minutes of action. Now Dita Donis gets right into McCarver. Steps back for 3. Long rebound, Emily Nelson. Now Dita Donis tries to bounce a pass to Louie as she came streaking into the paint. It's kicked out of bounds, so it'll stay with the Saints and 20 seconds on the shot clock. And Dita Donis will race to the locker room or placed on the floor by Josie Matz. That's the second time we've seen that tonight. Dingus went running to the locker room during the first half. Try to enter to Louie, but it's broken up from behind nicely by Callie McClave, sister of Anna, sister and teammate of Anna. Now Aragon sealed off nicely by Emily Nelson, just stoned beneath the basket. Has to kick it outside for McCarver, who will reset with 12 on the shot clock. Morris comes out to guard her, fights through the screen. Kick it over to Callie McClave, bounces it back to McCarver, starts her drive. And a 3-second lane violation. What a defensive stand for the Saints. The turnover gives it back to St. Martin's. It will be their ball out of bounds. with a 10-point lead and 4:36 left in the third when we return. And once we return, we will be joined by a very prestigious guest. We are in the presence of greatness. Bob Grisham joins us on the other side of this break. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. I am all of a sudden, I don't even quite know. My knees are shaking. I'm nervous. I'm pouring sweat because I'm standing next to St. Martin's legend, Bob Grisham, athletic director and former men's basketball coach, current women's golf coach as well. What hat have you not worn during your time at St. Martin's, Bob, going back to when you first started here 37 years ago?
I'll tell you what, it's pretty much covered almost everything. I mean, I've had a great run. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. And, yeah, I've wore a lot of different hats here. But you know what? Seriously, that's part of it that I've always enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, you spent a lot of time here. How many years were you the men's basketball coach? Was it
16 or 17.
Okay. All right. Talk, if you would, about a couple of your favorite moments. I know I'm asking you to reach back and pull a couple out of dozens, if not hundreds of good memories here. But maybe a couple of particular that stand out, especially as they relate to playing right here inside Marcus Pavilion.
Well, I can tell you this, and it'll be hitting close to home for you, Jeff, is one of them that really stands out is beating Evergreen State to get my 200th win. Now, you can come back and tell me about that game where you were cheering in here, and you guys stuck it to us early on in that series. But now that was seriously, that was one of the bigger wins on that.
Sure.
And then obviously my 91-92 team that was inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was a very special team.
Sure.
Tremendous athletes on that team. Lost in the championship game in the finals to go to the national tournament. That's something for me, memory-wise, I'll always remember. And just was a great basketball team. And you know what? I'll tell you what. The direction we're heading in now, I think with both our programs, we're going to see fans back in the upper deck.
Well, I sure hope so. I do remember when this place was, in fact, just filled to the gills. A lot of people, of course, kind of scared off by COVID, and rightly so. It's prioritizing personal safety. No one could ever fault anyone for that. But folks are missing out in a lot of regards to a very special sort of basketball renaissance that's been happening over the past few years here. Christy Martin has really turned things around on the women's side. We saw it with Alex Pribble his last couple of years here, and then he turns things over to Aaron Landon. And just year number 2, at least his second full season, Coach Landon doing an absolutely spectacular job. The men's team sitting in first place in the GNAC. I'm sure, of course, that the hiring of both of those two dudes, Alex Pribble and Aaron Landon, had a lot to do with you. So as a former men's basketball coach yourself, it has to be nice knowing that you left these programs in such good, capable hands. And for both with Pribble and, of course, now Aaron Landon, but also with Christy Martin on the women's side as well.
No, exactly. Christy, I think, has done an excellent job. We stepped up the ability of our athletes and our basketball players in the women's program, and she's right there competing. It's been difficult for both of them the last 2 years with the COVID situation. This year, obviously, with the injury scenario for Christy. So it's both of them. It's been difficult. It's like a start-stop. You know, you take, for example, the cancellation of the Seattle Pacific game tonight. You know, it's tough to get kids ready to play and then have a game canceled. So that's just an added little thing that the coaches are dealing with.
Yep.
And then in Aaron's case, Alex had the program going tremendously well and going in the right direction. The big thing there when Alex left, we ended up with a lot of seniors.
Yep.
Our 2 best juniors transferred out.
Yep.
And when I look at Aaron's scenario, I look at a guy that really stepped in, and Marky Adams was the only player returning who saw limited minutes.
Yep.
And so it was like really starting a program from the beginning and add COVID into that. So it was that transition of who you can get in. You maybe take some chances, some risk. Some of those guys maybe didn't pan out, but you look at this team, and for Aaron, I just love the way these guys play. You can see they play hard for them. I like the way they share the ball, and that's one of the things I've seen with both teams. Both Christy's teams and Aaron's teams really this year share the basketball well, and hey, we're hoping for a deep run into the conference tournament, which we're going to host in March.
Can't wait for that. It's nice, I think, as well, that in your final season at the helm here at St. Martin's that we will be hosting. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into putting on that tournament, but it is a very special thing to have all of the conference here on hand. Of course, there's going to be different format this year for the GNAC tournament. It's a little bit different. Well, not just a little bit, but it's profoundly different. But there will be satellite games up at Seattle Pacific. Plus, of course, the semifinals and finals held right here in Marcus Pavilion for both men's and women's basketball. It's a very special event, no matter where it is, but it probably feels a little bit extra special for you as it's your swan song at St. Martin's and you get to host the tournament right here.
No, it does. It's like the GNAC basketball tournament, men and women, is the showcase tournament for our conference. All 10 conference members have men's and women's basketball. There's a great following for all the programs. And you're right, this year we expanded it to 10 primarily because there's not going to be a true reflective home and home type of schedule. I'm going to guess you and Austin have talked about it. It's like a math problem, so I'm not going to go into that. But for us to host it, it's special. I believe we have the best venue in the conference.
Agreed.
And the best, I call it regionalization, where you can be a Seattle Pacific alum and you drive down to Lacey and you see a game. And that's difficult if tournament's in Billings, tournament is in Alaska. So, yeah, and we're looking forward to hosting. And, the big thing for both Christy and Aaron is play your best basketball, win 3 games, and you get the automatic qualifier to go to the regional tournament.
Let's switch gears here for just a moment, too, because I know you've got another women's golf season coming up just around the corner. At least the spring golf season is about to get started. As Dingus whistled for the offensive foul. So women's golf. Let's talk shop about women's golf here for just a moment. How soon are you getting started, and what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, one is my last opportunity to coach. I really like the group of girls that are in the program. Looking forward to getting started. We actually started going out and playing. The thing that we deal with obviously is weather, how wet it can be. Our first tournament will be late February.
Okay.
And the other thing is I think it's going to be a great transition. Ann Barr has been my assistant coach for 3 years. She's going to take over the program, played Division I golf, understands what it's like to be a college golfer on the women's side. So I think it's a great move for the program. Catherine Crimp returns as the conference champion. Hoku Nagamine was the runner-up last year. So we've got a good nucleus. So, yeah, we're looking forward to teeing it up and getting out and playing.
Literally teeing it up and getting and going and playing. Coach, we got a minute left here. I called you coach there. See, old habits die hard. And by the way, thanks again for getting in that shot at Evergreen. Bob knows that I'm a gooey duck. I bleed green a little bit, but I also bleed black and red these days. As Lauren Morris gets into another 5 straight points for Morris. Bob, with these last few moments here, is with time winding down here on the third quarter clock, just give us a few more reflections on your time at St. Martin's. It's been on this incredible, nearly 40-year run.
You know what? It's what I told the group tonight over at the Hall of Fame and Hall of Honor induction. It's to me, it's always been about relationships with my coaches, with faculty, with our student athletes. I want our athletes to come in here and leave having had an experience that they reflect back on and say, hey, I love my time at St. Martin. Some of my best friends are my teammates. I like my academic experience. And so I got a lot of friendships, a lot of good stories, and a lot of great relationships. And I'm gonna put a plug out there. I got a tremendous coaching staff that gets it. They've been great through the whole COVID scenario.
Yep.
My department staff, Austin, Chris, Emily, athletic training, Allison, Isaac, they're in it. They're in it for the right reasons. They're in it for our student athletes. I've been saying for the last 7 or 8 years, kind of a little motto of we want to raise the bar in what we do, and that's just across the board. The recognition of the academic award was awesome, and get in. And athletically, we just keep getting better.
Well, here's one thing I'll leave you with as well. One of my favorite moments was watching St. Martin's clinch a spot in the softball postseason tournament last year, a walk-off home run. And I'm standing there next to you watching that home run get hit that sent St. Martin's into the GNAC postseason tournament. I'm going to quote you. As that ball left the bat, here's what you said. You said, "That's it. That's it. That's a dinger, baby. Home run." Like, I honestly, like, that just encapsulates the kind of passion and support that you've had for all of your programs here in the department over the years. It's that kind of, like, that's the sort of top-down leadership that every athletic department sort of, like, strives for. Like, something like an AD that's going to show up, doesn't matter what's for, doesn't matter how good or that team is in the standings. You're there supporting all your teams, all your student athletes, no matter what, with as much passion and fervor as the most diehard fans of this school. And that's something that I will always remember you for and always just admire so much about you.
Jeff, thank you. That's a great compliment. I appreciate it, and I do. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head of what I'm about and what I've tried to be about. And so thank you much, and I love what you do and the passion that you bring to our broadcast. So keep it up, thank you, and go GNAC tournament.
Absolutely. Can't wait for the GNAC tournament right here in Marcus Pavilion. That is soon-to-be retired athletic director Bob Grisham. 37 years here at St. Martin's. We've still got 10 minutes left of basketball. We'll take a 5-second break. We'll come right back for the start of the fourth quarter. And welcome back inside St. Martin's Marcus Pavilion. What a night it's been here. This is a really special night. We've had so many. It's been great to have Aaron Landon sit in on the broadcast for the entire second quarter of the women's game, which allowed Austin to run down to the floor and sort of steer the ship for all of the festivities that we had at halftime for the Hall of Fame and ceremonies. Great to sit here and talk shop over the last 5 minutes of the third quarter with outgoing athletic director Bob Grisham. Let's welcome Austin back into the broadcast. Austin, you've just been able to sit back and sort of watch the game for a little while. What did you see over the last 5 minutes that stuck out to you?
I mean, look, it's a defensive game. There's no question about it. This is what this reminds me of? Like a 1980s Big East basketball game, right?
Yeah, I love it.
I love that.
Nobody's
given an inch. This game, you're going to walk out with some bruises on you, but whichever team comes out with a W, it's a hard-earned win.
Louie and Aragon locking horns there for a moment. Maybe a couple of bruises coming out of that little session. Now it's Madison Clark on the drive for Western Oregon. Dingus tries to slide over and absorb a charge. Instead gets whistled for a block. That will send Madison Clark to the line. The Saints lead sat at 10 at halftime. It remains 10. Another low-scoring quarter. It was 21-13 at the end of the first. Just 12 points between the two teams scored in the second quarter. We went to the break with the Saints leading 28-18. They now lead at 42-33 after Clark connects on the first of two free throws. It has been tough sledding. This is perhaps the finest defensive performance for St. Martin so far on the season. They have really clamped down on Western Oregon. These two teams played once already. It was Western Oregon defeating St. Martin's down in Monmouth a little while back, 68-64. Morris spins to the free throw line, nothing doing. They work it down to Louie in the corner, now reverse it back, but the pass picked off. Anna McClave steps into the lane, taps it into backcourt, but she can't finish at the other end, and Morris ran the floor and covers up. She's got a Wolf behind her. It is tapped forward, and a kickball called in the paint. Frenetic sequence.
Well, Jeff, right there, that is why you never give up on a play.
Yeah.
Lauren Morris all the way down the floor, hustle play. That's going to coaching staff, they're going to point that out in film right there and go, that is why you give 110%. You never give up on a play.
So I thought they had called a kickball, but somehow the ball did wind up just rolling out of bounds. So that turnover does give it right back to Western Oregon. So the Saints a little unfocused on their last couple of possessions, turning it over on back-to-back trips. They look down low, setting up Kenagambi with good post position. Nelson sliding with her, bodies her up, absorbs the foul. That's her third, I believe. And it is. And a quick second foul on the Saints here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, if I'm Western Oregon, I keep attacking Emily Nelson. Either try to get that fourth foul and try and open up some lanes down low because, again, she doesn't even have to be, a shot blocker. You just know if you're a guard dribbling into that paint, Emily Nelson's going to be sitting there waiting for you with all of that wingspan. So when Nelson's not on the floor, the Saints defensively, they're just not the same team.
Well, both free throws connected. And we're down to a 6-point lead for St. Martin's. It's a very critical juncture in this game. Nelson bounces a pass down low. Kicks out. Shanoa Louis' turn to fire a three. Nelson, an offensive rebound. Works her way around. Kenagambi gets all the way to the glass and lays it in.
She just does everything.
Such great activity.
I mean, again, Coach Martin talked a lot about when we were sitting down with her at the beginning of the year, and she said Emily Nelson has just grown leaps and bounds. She's just getting so much better, and honestly, it feels like she's just getting better every game. But there's an answer right back for the Wolves.
Kenagambi, the Hawaii Pacific transfer, just took her time. She had good post position, sealing off Lauren Morris. Morris did everything she could to keep her at bay. But Gamby knocks it home, draws the foul, and will head to the line after this timeout. 7:40 to play, the Saints holding on to a 6-point lead. (44-38) our score. Saints have led this game basically start to finish. We have reached the stretch run of this game. 7:40 left in this thing. How about the play of Emily Nelson? She's got 8 rebounds, not a ton of points, 5 points, but Austin, her defense around the basket tonight has been an enormous factor. Western Oregon shooting just 29% from the floor, and the defense of Emily Nelson is a big reason why.
Oh, I mean, Jeff, Western Oregon also, they just dominate the boards.
Look at that number.
37-22 right now.
Plus 15.
You never see something like that. And so Emily Nelson, Claire Dingus, those two they had a tall task, and they've come up big so far for the Saints. But guess what? There's still 7 minutes left. This can go any way.
Reed misfires from deep. Aragon, a strong rebound for the Wolves. Wolves right there. Haven't gone away all night. Biggest lead of the night for the Saints, 12. It sits at 6 at the moment, but Western Oregon with some momentum. McCarver nearly turns it over. Now kicks it back. Clark will try for 3. That one does just bound out. It was
It looked
nearly
good.
halfway down. I thought it was going to fall through the cylinder. Instead, it pops out, and Louis the rebound. Adonis, a couple of steps to her right, sets up Morris. She'll fire for three. She's hit a couple out there tonight. Lauren Morris has 14 points in this game. Huge factor for the Saints, especially in the absence of Ryan Clark. Now Aragon and Dingus tangle beneath the basket. Both of them on the deck. No call. We play on. 17 on the shot clock. Winkler leans in and banks it home. So Western Oregon has trailed by as many as 12. It's down to 4. Adonis with a beautiful crossover move. Gets into the paint, can't connect. It will stay with the Saints. Oh, my golly.
What a game.
Adonis just showing off on that drive.
Yeah, and then, Claire Dingus right there, it doesn't count as a rebound for her, but to go up against two players, and she never had position going in, and somehow still gets that ball. Those are the kind of plays right there that elevate you to that All-American status.
Adonis circles back up top. Dingus on the drive. Pulls up from 10 feet. A little bit too strong. And flying in for the rebound. The diminutive Tracey McCarver. She'll steer it the other way for Western Oregon. Reverses it. They look down low now for Gamby. Bounces it outside. Three on the way for Aragon. That's no good. Lauren Morris rips down a strong rebound for St. Martin's. One and done for Western Oregon on that trip at their end of the floor. Morris looks inside, now skips it back across for Dingus. She's sealed off. Morris crosses over, spins, pulls up from 12 feet. Tracey McCarver, head up, surveying. Crosses over, now backs down, kicks to the corner. Driving the baseline is Amber Winkler. Shot well short, gets it back. Aragon beneath the basket. That won't go. And Claire Dingus, rebound number 12.
That's about 3 or 4 trips in a row for Western Oregon on just bad breaks. They've had great looks at the basket and just can't get them to fall. Saints, though, here now complete isolation, 4 low, giving Adonis the complete look.
Now Nelson flashes out to the high post to get it. Adonis was open for a moment. Instead, it's Morris for 3. Now Clark for 3 at the Western Oregon end. Nelson thrown to the floor from behind. Loose ball foul whistled against Kenna Gamby. And that'll bring us to a stoppage in play. So much action in this game. Not a ton of points scored, but this has been a wildly entertaining contest. These two teams looking a little gassed at the moment. This is a well-deserved timeout. So 4:33 left once we return. Welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the final 4 minutes and 33 seconds of the highly entertaining back and forth contest between Western Oregon and St. Martin's. Jeff Lucero, Austin Burns here with you. As we are under the 5-minute mark of this game. Saints with possession, a 2-possession lead. And let's see what head coach Christy Martin drew up during the timeout. It's taken away. We'll never know. Meadow Aragon with a stellar defensive play. Gets into the paint, sealed off, tries to throw up a wild shot, won't go, and Nelson tracks it down in the corner. It's been a frustrating night from the floor for Meadow Aragon. The leading scorer for Western Oregon coming in tonight, averaging just under 13 a game. 1 for 10 from the floor now. Just 3 points on the night for Western Oregon's leading scorer. That has a lot to do with the defensive rotation of Louie, Nelson, and Dingus that have just been in her hip pocket all night long.
Yeah, you know, when we talked to Christy Martin after the game, she's going to say the scouting report was you have to stop her. And they threw their best defenders, some of the best defenders in the conference, on her tonight, and it's made it really hard. Even there on that fast break, and she has numbers, the Saints swarm and are able to get 2 bodies on her in the paint immediately. She just has not been able to establish that dominance that she usually has down low.
Emma Reed commits the foul. Steps off the floor. Didadonis quickly back out there. A near travel from Aragon. Still can't get it to go. And another rebound for Emily Nelson.
And you can tell the frustration right there. Great look, wide open, and just can't get that one to fall. Just one of those nights for her, unfortunately.
Louie with good position down low. Perhaps a little bit tired. Leaves that shot well short, despite being in close. Good defense from Western Oregon tonight throughout this contest as well. Just 31% shooting for St. Martin's. 26% now for Western Oregon.
They really locked down after that first quarter, the Wolves did. And that's what's been able to keep them in the game. Saints looked like they were on the verge of kind of getting out, run and gun, and be able to let their offense do what they want. Wolves really made some great adjustments after the first 10 minutes.
Amber Winkler's still got some gas in the tank. She gallops to the rack. She's fouled on the floor, but it's the 5th foul on the Saints. So now Western Oregon in the double bonus. Shanoa Louie called for her 4th foul, so she'll step out, I believe. And she will. Yes, Josie Matz now back on the floor for St. Martin's.
And Saints, what that means defensively is you're going to have to play. You can't play so aggressive out on the guards. You don't want to commit a foul that far away from the basket and send them to the line. Meanwhile, Western Oregon with just 1 foul, they can be as aggressive as they want. And I expect them to, as they come up with the offensive rebound, I expect them to go full-fledged on the defensive end and not give the Saints any easy looks.
Just 2 points in the 4th quarter for St. Martin so far. Good post-up position down low for Alexis Wright. Works her way to the basket, draws the foul. She'll head to the line with an opportunity to tie the game for Western Oregon. This is a 9-0 Western Oregon run. This is going to come down to a contest of who blinks first. Wright's free throw on its way. No good. Saints still in front, but now clinging to a 1-point lead with under 3 to play. Morris handles. Josie Matz calling for it. Fakes left, goes right. Cut off, needs help. Defender draped all over her. Now it's Lauren Morris hesitating. Gets beneath the basket, kicks outside for Didadonis. Scampers to her left, pulls up for 3 in front of the bench and blows it away. Didadonis with the most clutch shot of the game in the clutchest moment of the game. And we're back to a 4-point lead. Didadonis steps to her left, fires away from deep. What a shot from Tierney D.
The spark from Arizona. I mean, wow, she loves these moments. I mean, you love it. You love the energy, the passion she has for the game, and she lives for these moments. I mean, again, one of the things that pops in my head immediately is the win over Western Washington a couple years ago. She hit a dagger. I mean, it's one of those kind of moments. Tierney Didadonis. Wow, what more can you say?
2:25 to play. The second 3 cashed by Tierney Didadonis here in the game. She's got 6 points to go along with a team-high 6 assists. But those 3 points restake the Saints to a 2-possession lead, 47-43, as Tracey McCarver walks the ball across the timeline. Picked up by Lauren Morris. Hands it off to Aragon. Tries to go to work on Dingus. Shut down completely, and a 3-second lane violation. Whistled against Western Oregon.
I think we've had more of those calls tonight than we have all season. Western Oregon just getting into the paint and not deciding what they're going to do before they get into that paint. It's kind of trying to make it up. And again, he only got 3 seconds. You have to know what you're doing the moment you go into the paint.
We are at 2 minutes to play. Dingus with a ball above her head. Turns around, will just square up from 18. It bangs off the back heel of the iron. And Aragon races out the other way. McCarver looking inside. They've got Wright posted up. She spills to the floor. And that is the 5th foul on Emily Nelson. So the Saints, for the final 144 of regulation and beyond, if we get to that point, will be without the services of their 6'1" post player, Emily Nelson, but not before Emily Nelson walks out of here with a very impressive 5-point, 11 rebound performance and just absolutely pulverizing physical defense around the basket. One of the best performances we've seen out of Megan called her Megan Nielsen,
That's
the
a
former
name.
Saints post player. Emily Nelson, for crying out loud, Lucero, get it together.
Well, now if you're Western Oregon, it kind of opens up some light inside that you can try and maybe get the ball back down low to Aragon. Now that she knows Nelson isn't there, she's going to be guarded right now by Dingus.
Wright couldn't connect on either free throw, but Western Oregon keeps the possession alive on the offensive rebound. Aragon spins to her right, kicks to the corner, 3 on the way. Winkler's shot won't fall. Aragon is over the back of Claire Dingus, who had spectacular box-out position, and we're going the other way.
Well, how about that? You lose Emily Nelson, one of the best low-post defenders, and you're able to stick probably the best rebounder in the conference in Claire Dingus on her, and she has the box out and able to pick up that foul. And I say best rebound with also Samantha
Bowman might have something to say about that.
15 rebounds a game.
She's one of the best in the country. And, of course, I know that you didn't mean any disrespect there, but, yes, for sure. But we'll call Claire the second best rebounder in the league, no doubt. Samantha Bowman just a beast on the glass, averaging about 15 a game for Central Washington. We've yet to see them. I can't wait for them to get here. That's going to be a heck of a fun one. They have won 10 straight games coming into tonight's action as Central Washington. 15-4. What a year it's been for the Wildcats over in Ellensburg. We've got a minute to play. McCarver raises for 3 and buries it. How about Tressay McCarver? It took a while, but she answers back on Dee Adonis and a whistle, and it's Christy Martin calling for timeout. Was over in front of the scorer's table, stomping her feet, trying to get the referee's attention. And the timeout is called. It's a full, and we will step away here for just a moment. We're going to come back in just about 15 seconds because we've got a lot to talk about for the final minute of this ball game. .6 seconds left, Austin. 1 point game. What do you think?
I mean, what a great game. Homecoming, can't complain. You know, what a night. But again, 47-46. Saints going to inbound the ball here. In Western Oregon, key fact here, they only have 2 fouls. That means they're going to be very aggressive on the defense. You expect them to try and push the Saints into the corner, and if you pick up a foul, no big deal. You have 2 of them to give, so you're going to try and get the Saints ball handler into that corner, and that's where you really want to try and take advantage and try and get that steal. They don't have to foul. They can play defense straight up. So this is their defensive possession to try and come up with a stop and then try and get the lead back on the following. And for me, the Saints, Tierney Dee-Adonis, you know she's going to be the target. They're going to try to get the ball to her right away. They also have Josie Matz and Claire Dingus, all 3 very capable of handling the ball in this situation.
Well, it is the final countdown to be sure inside Marcus Pavilion with under a minute to play. It will be Lauren Morris to trigger the inbound. Dee-Adonis flashes out to midcourt to get it. Guarded by McCarver. Slips off the screen from Louie. Now Dingus on the drive. Pulls up from the elbow, extended shot way off the mark. And a rebound covered up by Meadow Aragon with 47 seconds left. I think Christy Martin wanted Claire Dingus to perhaps get in a little bit closer. Not settle for the mid-range shot, but perhaps just attack the rack in that situation. 30-second timeout on the floor. Although it may stretch to a fully. St. Martin's hasn't yet realized as much. Let's just keep it here. Let's talk about this game. This has been the shooting hasn't been great. That's pretty obvious, but the defense has. It's been this game has been no less entertaining, no less intense based on the dearth of scoring. It's just because neither team has really been able to score all that well doesn't mean this game hasn't been played at a very, very high level.
Yeah, sometimes you have those games where just both sides kind of struggling to make a basket. You know, just the offense isn't there. Tonight it's because the defense is locked in on both sides.
Yep.
And 47 seconds left here. You know, I think a key point about Claire Dingus' shot there, you give yourself at least 17 seconds now, regardless of what Western Oregon is able to do, for the Saints to have an opportunity to win should Western Oregon knock down a shot.
Got to give Katie Girton a lot of credit.
Yeah.
She's the coach of the night. She is the acting head coach tonight in the absence of Holly Howard Carpenter, who had to miss this game due to an emergency situation, unforeseen circumstances, keeping Coach Howard Carpenter away from Marcus Pavilion tonight. Let's hope everything is okay with you, Coach. I know you've got to be dialed in watching your squad, and you're likely very proud of them in the performance they've turned in on the road tonight. Couple of very evenly matched teams. And let's also give credit to Christy Martin and this Saints team. They're playing without their second leading scorer, Ryan Clear, averaging nearly 14 a game for St. Martin's. And the Saints have done a great job compensating in her absence.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to replace a player who can put 36 up on the board.
Yeah,
but the Saints have done a great job here tonight. A lot of players stepped up.
Here we go. It's Madison Clark handling, guarded by Josie Matz. Skips to her left, tries to get to the rack. Tough leaner in, traffic will go. And Western Oregon leads 48-47. Saints don't have to panic. Plenty of time here. They work it down low for Louie. Mishandles. Now she goes right into the chest of the defender. Her shot just does fall off, and she fouls over the top. But a timeout is called by Western Oregon before the foul is incurred. So a 1-point game on the reset here. Western Oregon basketball. Saints over the limit.
Yeah, what a job by Clark. Notice the mismatch immediately on Matz, able to get past her. There was no help side defense for the Saints to roll over. Great play down low. And then Louie on the other end muscled her defender out of the way, had a look, just couldn't get it to roll in. And, but again, 27 seconds left. So Saints are already in that bonus. So they can go for the quick trap. They don't have to foul immediately.
Don't have to foul immediately. That's exactly what I was going to say.
You got about a solid 7 to 10 seconds of trying to get that trap.
I agree.
Or the moment one of the, you always target who's the free throw shooter that you want to send to the line at the end of the game. If one of those players grabs the ball immediately, you foul and try and send them to the line and start playing that numbers game. But the Saints got about 7-10 seconds here to try and come up with a steal.
This is a very solid free throw shooting team, this Western Oregon side. Lots of time coming off. Here's McCarver. Gets in along the baseline, turns it over. Claire Dingus picks it off. Morris now, head full of steam. Dididonis in the corner, 10 to play. Down low for Louie. Shot off the side of the backboard. And a timeout called by Western Oregon. Well, the Saints did everything right in that possession. They waited on defense, found their spot, got the turnover, but just could not execute at their end of the floor.
Yeah, you put one of the best defensive players in Dingus right in the middle of the floor and just go make a play, and she did. She came up big. Maybe would have liked to have seen her just keep that momentum going, though. She stopped right before the halfway line. I think that allowed Western Oregon to set their D. I think in that moment you just let her, if you're Dingus, just keep going down the court. We got 4.5 seconds left here. You're going to foul the moment that ball's inbounded. You can't wait for any kind of trap. You have to just come up with a foul right away. And the Saints, no matter what, are going to have a look here to try and end the game, or at least send us maybe to overtime or a game winner.
Well, if Western Oregon is, in fact, able to come away with a victory tonight, It'll be because of their performance in the fourth quarter. They've held the Saints to 5 points here in the fourth quarter. It will be Kelly McClave to inbound. Dingus right in her cheese. They get it to McCarver. She's fouled immediately by Lauren Morris.
Yeah, and if you're Western Oregon, that's exactly who I want to send to the line.
Yeah. 75% on the season is Tracey McCarver.
I feel like at this point in the game, you throw numbers out the window.
Yeah,
You
no
put who you trust at the line.
She's a perfect 3 for 3 on the night. 3.8 to play. McCarver to the line for the first of 2 free throws. Dips at the knees, shot on the way. Bounds off, no good. I believe the Saints have a timeout, which they'll likely burn the second the shot is made or comes off. Got to box out here, though, Austin. That's got to be the most important focus for St. Martin's. You have to box out. You cannot let Western Oregon get an offensive rebound if she happens to miss. Second on the way, it's good. 2-point game, 3.8, and a timeout called by St. Martin's. They'll, of course, advance the basketball and inbound from right in front of their own bench.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, I'm glad I'm not having to make that decision. It's one of those where you almost go, do you miss the second free throw on purpose to start the clock? Because now this allows the Saints to advance the ball. But 3.8 seconds left. I'll tell you what, she's already hit a clutch shot tonight. Tierney DeDonatis, that's who I have to call here. You're going to set up. Watch for whoever's inbounding for the Saints. We saw a play earlier this year where the inbounder was the one who takes the shot. They're going to inbound out towards the top of the key. The ball swings right back to the inbounder, and they got an open three-point look. Saints might go with that look. It'll be interesting to see.
They could also, because it's a 2-point game, try to pound it down low. They've got enough time for a catch and shoot. They can get Dingus with a defender behind her. She'll have time to catch, even make a move one way or the other.
Western
Oregon
Oregon
see what they
foul.
want to do. Western Oregon has fouls to give. That's another big element to this finish.
Yeah, watch. It's Tierney inbounding. I think she's going to get the ball right back.
To Matz. Got to go. To Tierney. Stripped away. 0.8 on the clock. The Saints, do they have another timeout? If they do, they're not burning it.
No, I think
they're going to check the clock and make sure it's right.
Very veteran move by Claire Dingus. Run over and see if you can't. Every half or a tenth of a second back on the clock's a huge. But that's a tough inbound spot for the Saints. Down in the corner, it kind of really only sets up. You flare once to the basket, and then whoever's going out to the corner to try the three. And the Saints, they ran their exact look that you knew they were going to go with. DeDonatis in the corner three. What a defensive play. We've been saying it all night. It's a defensive game. Huge defensive play at the end. Knock it out of bounds.
Austin, I'd have to go back and look at things, but this might be Western Oregon's first lead of this game. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to go back and run through the play-by-play, but I don't believe Western Oregon had a lead until they got it at 48-47 with under a minute to play in this game. The Saints had, in fact, okay, there you go. I believe they've led wire to wire. And if they're unable to score here and either force overtime or win it with a three.
I think you're going to see Claire Dingus at the top of the key here. She's going to flare in, and they can even set up a double screen to try and allow DeDonatis to come right across the baseline into that far corner and catch and shoot for a quick three. Or you can try and set up that inside screen if Dingus is able to get a quick flash to the basket.
Well, the referee still looking at the monitor to make sure that the clock is correct. And it looks like we might have okay, we'll get 2/10 back on the clock. That's actually important. That allows you to make a little bit more of a move anyway. Not much of one, but it could come down to those tenths of a second in terms of a release of a shot. It will be Josie Matz to inbound just a little ways to the right of the Saints basket. Matz gets the ball. Looking for somebody. Finds Dingus beneath the basket. Shot up, no good. Game over. Well, they had a shot. Matz found Dingus. Had enough time, but her shot just went up and over the basket, and Western Oregon is going to sneak out of town with a hard-fought come from behind. I mean, come all the way from behind, and a much-deserved hug for acting head coach Katie Girton. That one was for you, Coach Holly Howard Carpenter. What a win for your squad. 49-47, the final score. The Saints fall to 2-7 in GNAC play. Western Oregon improves to 4-6. Fans, keep it right here. The St. Martin's Women's Basketball postgame show, along with head coach Christy Martin, is coming up in just a couple of moments. Welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Happy homecoming. Happy Hall of Fame Day, everybody. We are now joined by women's basketball head coach Christy Martin. Coach, tough one I know right now. This one's got to be pretty rough for you. You let it wire to wire. Western Oregon sneaks in here. Under a minute to play, get their first lead of the game, and are going to walk out of here with that 2-point game, with that 2-point victory. I know you're frustrated right now, but there was a lot of things to be happy about tonight. I'm going to start with Emily Nelson here for just a moment. She played such fantastic defense. You guys did an amazing job locking down on Meadow Aragon, their leading scorer and rebounder. She did get a ton of boards, but you completely clamped down on her defensively, and it started with the play that you got out of Emily Nelson among that rotation of defenders you threw at her all night long.
Yeah, Emily just brings so much passion and heart to the team, and I just thought she really came through with energy and just great enthusiasm like she typically does.
Well, another great performance that you got tonight as well came from Lauren Morris. She comes through in the clutch, 14 big points. Those were all especially important considering you did not have your second leading scorer, Ryan Clear, tonight. Lauren Morris hit a lot of clutch shots for you here.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like this gave us an opportunity to really have other people step up and figure some stuff out. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize off a lot of things at the end of the game and at the last quarter. But I just thought the kids did a really good job. They showed a lot of fight. They showed a lot of heart. Dingus is just amazing. She's getting doubles on every night, and I thought that T is doing a great job of just really setting tempo for the offense. And we've got 3 kids playing 37 minutes or more, and so it does have an effect.
Well, I don't know what kind of a relationship you've got with Katie Girton, but she was their acting head coach tonight in the absence of Holly Howard Carpenter. You got to at least be kind of happy for someone like Katie Girton getting an opportunity tonight to step in and lead this team to a win.
Yeah, what a job she did. I mean, she did an incredible job, and just want to wish Holly the best. They've really got it rolling over at Western Oregon, and I know she would be here if she could, and just want to wish her well, and tell their program congratulations. I know that's really hard for an assistant to come in and do what she did. I mean, she just really held it together, and she coached a spectacular game.
Coach, we know you want to get downstairs and talk to your kids after this loss, so we'll go ahead and let you get down there. But thanks again, as always, for always stopping by and being so gracious with your time. Really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
All right, Coach. That is head coach Christy Martin stopping by. And yeah, Austin, it was a tough one tonight. The Saints had this game well in hand, but in the fourth quarter, they just had trouble executing at the offensive end of the floor. Just 5 points by my count in that fourth quarter. And in the end, Western Oregon just kept hanging around. Saints just never put them away. And sometimes it comes all the way back to bite you. And tonight, that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, and for me, I think the big key turning point was when Emily Nelson picked up that 5th foul. I think that's when Western Oregon kind of felt like, okay, she's gone. And it's like when the starting pitcher's rolling in baseball, right? And they go to the bullpen in the 9th, and you go, all right, he's gone. We can finally go in and get some changes. That's what it felt like, in all honesty. Emily Nelson really was just holding down that Western Oregon offense. And, credit Western Oregon. They came in here. This is a tough environment to come into on the road, trailing for easily 38 minutes of the game. Hat off to them. They stuck in mentally all game. They never quit. This was a good basketball game. And man, it makes me excited for the GNAC tournament. These two squads, there's no question about it. They can make a run. I mean, this conference is loaded from top to bottom, and this just showcases why there is no easy games in the GNAC, and Western Oregon comes out with a big win here tonight.
Well, let's take a quick look at the numbers, and of course, for a night when neither team shot the ball well at all, it still turned out to be such a wildly entertaining game. I just keep going back to that point. Usually when teams play as poorly offensively as these two teams did, they also combined for a total of 41 turnovers, and neither team shooting better than 30% from the floor. This was as entertaining a game as we've seen all season. Western Oregon finishes shooting just 30%, 16 of 53, 4 for 15 for 27% from beyond the arc. 13 of 23 at the line, just 56% of the line. They got out-rebounded 47 of 36, just 6 assists on 16 made baskets. So they really didn't do anything well at all at the offensive end of the floor, but they just stuck to it. They had a game plan, they hung around, they persevered, and in the end, that's what got them the win. For the Saints, 29% from the floor, 22% from beyond the three-point line, and 58% at the foul line. 12 assists on 18 makes for the Saints. They were led by 18 points and 12 rebounds from Claire Dingus. She notches yet another double-double on the season. 11 more rebounds as well for Emily Nelson before she fouled out at that all-too crucial 2.5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. She finishes the night with 5 points, but Lauren Morris really did step in. She was that person that the Saints needed tonight, the offensive spark, with Ryan Clear unable to give it a go. 14 points, 6 rebounds for Lauren Morris in a hard-battled 37 minutes on the floor. Tierney did on us 6.6 assists, hit that big three to restake the Saints to a 4-point lead, but those were the final points that the Saints could score. And Western Oregon just, well, they did it. They got in here. There's not a whole lot more we can say other than that. They got it done exactly when they needed to.
Yep, they did. And again, hat off to Western Oregon. Great game plan for them. They came in, both teams ready to go here tonight and come away with a hard-fought W. And luckily, if you're the Saints, you get to turn right around and you get to welcome in I-5 rival on Tuesday in Seattle Pacific. So, you get another opportunity, another crack at it on this home floor. And again, Jeff, there's so many games left also in the schedule due to all the cancellations in January. I mean, we're really backloaded this season in terms of games. And for me, it's about what team is going to get hot at the right moment. Yep. And that's about a week out from the GNAC tournament. Who starts rolling in those games? So, that's the beauty of when all 10 teams get in, everyone's got a chance. And it kind of comes into that weekend of who's the hot team. And if you're a Saints fan, you got Claire Dingus, who's just a walking double-double. You got Emily Nelson, Lauren Morris. When Ryan Clear comes back, Tierney Dinos. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They have a lot of talent. And so, for me, when they get back on this home court, and I think they start connecting and getting that offense where we know it can be, this team becomes a very hard out in March at the GNAC tournament.
Well, let's all hope for sure that Ryan Clear is, in fact, able to go on Tuesday when Seattle Pacific does make their way down I-5 for the first of 2 games next week against the Falcons. So 3 games in a 5-game span for the Saints beginning on Tuesday night. We do welcome Seattle Pacific to town at 5:30 p.m. So the pregame show will start at 5:15 that evening. And the Saints make their way over to Billings for a 6 o'clock our time tip on Thursday against the Yellow Jackets. They'll follow that up by heading up to Royal Braun Pavilion to face off with Seattle Pacific next Saturday afternoon at 4:15 p.m. So again, 3 games for this Saints women's basketball program beginning Tuesday over the span of 5 days. SPU Tuesday, Montana State Billings Thursday, back at SPU on Saturday. So that's going to do it for us for this broadcast this evening. Happy homecoming and happy Hall of Fame to everybody that has a stake in this St. Martin's athletic department one way or another. We will see you on Tuesday. 5:15 is our tip-off for that game against the Falcons. So, on behalf of Austin Burns and our executive producer, Sydney Henderson, and everyone, especially outgoing athletic director Bob Grisham in the Saints athletic department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off, wishing all of you a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you back on the airwaves Tuesday evening at 5:15 p.m. St. Martin's women's basketball against SPU. Good night, everybody.